The Journey to the Future, an 11-year-old boy's adventure. Welcome to our channel. You are looking for tips to improve your English, aren't you? Let's follow us. We create stories by ourselves to help you learn English everyone and everywhere. If you like, give us like and subscribes. Many thanks. In a small town nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, lived an 11-year-old boy named Lucas Bennett. Lucas was an inquisitive child with a vivid imagination and an insatiable curiosity about the world. He spent his days exploring the woods, conducting experiments in his makeshift laboratory, and reading science fiction novels. His favorite stories were those that involved time travel, and he often dreamed of what it would be like to journey into the future. One sunny afternoon, while exploring an old, abandoned house on the outskirts of town, Lucas stumbled upon a hidden door in the basement. The door was covered in dust and cobwebs, and it seemed to have been untouched for years. With his heart pounding in excitement, Lucas pushed the door open and stepped inside. The room beyond was filled with strange, antique machinery and stacks of yellowed papers. In the center of the room stood a large, metallic device with a seat and numerous dials and buttons. It looked like something straight out of one of his science fiction books. Lucas's eyes widened with wonder as he approached the machine. He noticed a plaque on the side that read Temporal Displacement Device, Dr. Theodore Emerson, 1923. Dr. Theodore Emerson had been a renowned scientist and inventor who mysteriously disappeared many years ago. Lucas couldn't believe his luck. He had discovered a real time machine. Without hesitation, Lucas climbed into the seat and examined the controls. The device seemed complicated, but his curiosity got the better of him. He began to fiddle with the dials, setting them to a date far in the future, July 28, 2123. Taking a deep breath, Lucas pressed a large red button labeled Activate. Part 2, The Leap Through Time. The machine hummed to life, and Lucas felt a strange sensation as the room around him began to blur and distort. He closed his eyes, feeling as though he were being pulled through a tunnel of light. Moments later, the sensation stopped, and everything became still and quiet. When Lucas opened his eyes, he found himself in a room that looked similar to the one he had left, but with some notable differences. The machinery was sleek and modern, and the walls were lined with glowing screens displaying complex data. He had made it. He had traveled 100 years into the future. Lucas stepped out of the machine and cautiously made his way to a nearby window. The sight that greeted him was beyond anything he had ever imagined. The small town he knew had transformed into a bustling metropolis, with towering skyscrapers, flying vehicles, and advanced technology everywhere he looked. Overwhelmed with excitement and curiosity, Lucas decided to explore this new world. He stepped out of the building and onto the street, where people dressed in futuristic clothing moved about with a sense of purpose. He marveled at the sights and sounds, feeling like a character in one of his beloved science fiction novels. Part 3, The Future City. As Lucas wandered through the city, he noticed a large holographic map displayed in the center of a plaza. The map showed the layout of the city, with various points of interest highlighted. One location caught his eye, the Future Tech Expo, an exhibition showcasing the latest advancements in technology. Intrigued, Lucas decided to visit the expo and see what the future had to offer. The expo was held in a massive, dome-shaped building that sparkled in the sunlight. As Lucas entered, he was greeted by a friendly robot who handed him a brochure and welcomed him to the event. The brochure detailed the various exhibits, from artificial intelligence and robotics to space exploration and renewable energy. Lucas spent hours wandering through the expo, marveling at the incredible innovations on display. He saw robots that could perform complex tasks with ease, holographic interfaces that allowed people to interact with virtual environments, and sustainable energy solutions that promised to revolutionize the way people lived. One exhibit, in particular, caught Lucas's attention, a demonstration of a new form of personal transportation called the hoverpod. The hoverpod was a sleek, floating vehicle that could navigate the city with precision and speed. Lucas watched in awe as a demonstrator effortlessly maneuvered the hoverpod through an obstacle course, showcasing its agility and advanced technology. As the day went on, Lucas couldn't help but feel a sense of wonder and excitement about the future. He realized that the world had changed in ways he could never have imagined, and he felt privileged to witness it firsthand. Part 4: A New Friend. While exploring the expo, Lucas bumped into a girl about his age who was also fascinated by the hoverpod demonstration. Her name was Ava, and she had a similar curiosity and enthusiasm for technology. They quickly struck up a conversation, and Lucas found himself telling Ava about his incredible journey through time. Ava was initially skeptical, but Lucas's detailed descriptions and genuine excitement convinced her that he was telling the truth. Fascinated by his story, Ava offered to show Lucas around the city and teach him more about the advancements of the future. Together, they visited various landmarks and attractions, including a massive vertical garden that provided fresh produce to the city's residents, a state-of-the-art medical facility that used advanced technology to treat illnesses, and a cultural museum that preserved the history and heritage of the past. As they explored, Ava explained how society had evolved over the past century. She talked about the advancements in science and technology, the focus on sustainability and environmental conservation, and the efforts to create a more inclusive and equitable world. Lucas was amazed by everything he learned and felt a deep sense of admiration for the people of the future. He realized that despite the challenges and obstacles they had faced, they had managed to create a world that was not only advanced but also compassionate and forward-thinking. Part 5: The Quest for Answers. As Lucas and Ava grew closer, they began to wonder about the origins of the time machine and the mysterious disappearance of Dr. Theodore Emerson. Determined to uncover the truth, they decided to investigate further. Ava suggested visiting the city's central library, which housed a vast archive of historical records and documents. She believed that they might find information about Dr. Emerson and his inventions there. Lucas agreed, eager to learn more about the man who had made his incredible journey possible. The library was an impressive structure, with towering shelves filled with books and digital archives accessible through holographic displays. Ava led Lucas to the section dedicated to the history of science and technology, where they began their search. After hours of sifting through records, they finally found a collection of documents related to Dr. Emerson. They learned that he had been a brilliant inventor who had made significant contributions to the field of temporal mechanics. However, his work had been shrouded in mystery, and many believed that he had disappeared under suspicious circumstances. One document, in particular, caught their attention: a letter written by Dr. Emerson himself. In the letter, he described his groundbreaking discovery of time travel and his plans to conduct a series of experiments. He also mentioned his concerns about the potential dangers and ethical implications of his work. The letter hinted at the possibility that Dr. Emerson had used the time machine to travel to an unknown point in time and had never returned. Lucas and Ava were intrigued by the idea and decided to investigate further. Determined to uncover the truth, Lucas and Ava followed the clues in Dr. Emerson's letter, which led them to an old, abandoned building on the outskirts of the city. The building had once been a research facility, but it had long since fallen into disrepair. With a sense of excitement and trepidation, they entered the building and began to explore. The interior was dark and dusty, with broken equipment and scattered papers littering the floor. Despite the state of the building, Lucas felt a sense of familiarity. It reminded him of the abandoned house where he had discovered the time machine. After searching for a while, they stumbled upon a hidden door concealed behind a bookshelf. The door led to a secret laboratory, filled with strange machinery and devices that looked similar to the time machine Lucas had used. In the center of the laboratory, they found a large, metallic chamber with a control panel and numerous dials and buttons. It was clear that this was another time machine, possibly even more advanced than the one Lucas had discovered. As they examined the machine, Ava noticed a small, locked drawer in the control panel. Using a hairpin, she managed to pick the lock and open the drawer. Inside, they found a journal filled with detailed notes and sketches. The journal belonged to Dr. Emerson, and it contained a wealth of information about his experiments and discoveries. He had meticulously documented his work, including the creation of multiple time machines and his plans to explore different points in time. One entry, in particular, caught their attention. Dr. Emerson had written about his intention to travel to the year 2123 to witness the future and assess the impact of his inventions. He had hoped to use the knowledge he gained to improve his work and address any potential issues. Lucas and Ava were stunned by the revelation. It seemed that Dr. Emerson had succeeded in his journey to the future but had never returned. They wondered if he was still in this time, and if so, where he might be. With a newfound sense of urgency, Lucas and Ava decided to search for Dr. Emerson in the present day. They hoped that by finding him, they could learn more about his work and possibly even help him return to his own time. They began by visiting the Future Tech Expo, where many of the city's leading scientists and researchers were gathered. They asked around, showing people a photograph of Dr. Emerson that they had found in the journal. Most people didn't recognize the man in the photo, but one elderly scientist named Dr. Franklin did. He remembered hearing stories about a mysterious inventor who had appeared in the city many years ago and had made significant contributions to the field of temporal mechanics. Dr. Franklin directed them to a small, secluded laboratory on the outskirts of the city, where he believed Dr. Emerson might be working. Lucas and Ava thanked him and hurried to the location, hoping to finally meet the man who had made their incredible journey possible. When they arrived at the laboratory, they found it to be a modest, unassuming building. They knocked on the door, and after a moment, it was opened by an elderly man with a kind face and piercing blue eyes. "Can I help you?" the man asked, his voice gentle but curious. "Dr. Emerson?" Lucas asked tentatively. "My name is Lucas, and this is Ava. We've been looking for you." Dr. Emerson's eyes widened in surprise. "How do you know my name?" Lucas quickly explained their journey and how they had discovered the time machine in Dr. Emerson's journal. The elderly scientist listened intently, his expression a mix of astonishment and curiosity. When Lucas finished his story, Dr. Emerson nodded slowly. "I see. It appears my experiment was more successful than I could have ever imagined. Please, come in." Inside the laboratory, Dr. Emerson shared his story with Lucas and Ava. He explained how he had used the time machine to travel to the future, hoping to learn and improve his work. However, upon arriving in 2123, he had been unable to return to his own time due to a malfunction in the machine. Stranded in the future, Dr. Emerson had decided to make the most of his situation. He had continued his research, contributing to the advancements in temporal mechanics and helping to shape the world of the future. Despite his accomplishments, he had always hoped to find a way back to his own time. Lucas and Ava listened with rapt attention, fascinated by Dr. Emerson's journey and the impact he had made. They shared their own experiences and the discoveries they had made while searching for him. Dr. Emerson was deeply moved by their dedication and bravery. He revealed that he had been working on a new time machine, one that he hoped would allow him to return to 1923. However, he needed a specific component that was no longer available in the future. Lucas remembered seeing a similar component in the old time machine he had discovered back in the past. He suggested that they could retrieve it and bring it to the future, allowing Dr. Emerson to complete his work and return home. Dr. Emerson agreed, and they quickly formulated a plan. Lucas and Ava would use the time machine to travel back to the present day, retrieve the component, and return to the future. It was a risky and complex mission, but they were determined to succeed. Lucas and Ava returned to the abandoned building where Lucas had first discovered the time machine. They carefully examined the machine and found the component they needed. With a sense of excitement and trepidation, they prepared to activate the time machine once again. Before they left, Lucas took a moment to reflect on the incredible journey he had undertaken. He had traveled 100 years into the future, witnessed amazing advancements, and made new friends. He felt a deep sense of gratitude for the experiences and knowledge he had gained. With the component in hand, they activated the time machine and felt the familiar sensation of being pulled through time. Moments later, they found themselves back in 2123, standing in Dr. Emerson's laboratory. Dr. Emerson's eyes lit up with joy as they handed him the component. "You did it," he exclaimed. "This is exactly what I needed." Together, they worked to install the component in the new time machine. Dr. Emerson meticulously calibrated the controls, ensuring that everything was in perfect working order. Finally, after hours of hard work, the machine was ready. "Thank you, Lucas and Ava," Dr. Emerson said, his voice filled with gratitude. "You have given me the chance to return home and continue my work. I will never forget your kindness and bravery." With a final hug and words of farewell, Dr. Emerson stepped into the time machine. Lucas and Ava watched as the machine hummed to life and the room around them began to blur and distort. Moments later, Dr. Emerson was gone, leaving behind a legacy of innovation and discovery. With their mission accomplished, Lucas and Ava decided it was time for Lucas to return to his own time as well. They made their way back to the original time machine, which had remained in Dr. Emerson's laboratory. As they prepared for the journey, Ava handed Lucas a small device. "This is a communicator," she explained. "It will allow us to stay in touch, no matter where or when you are." Lucas smiled, feeling a deep sense of connection to his new friend. "Thank you, Ava. I will never forget you or this incredible adventure." With a final embrace, Lucas climbed into the time machine and activated the controls. He felt the familiar sensation of being pulled through time, and moments later, he found himself back in the abandoned house in his own time. The room was just as he had left it, with the old machinery and yellowed papers scattered around. Lucas took a deep breath, feeling a mix of relief and nostalgia. He had traveled 100 years into the future, witnessed amazing advancements, and made lasting friendships. As he made his way home, Lucas felt a renewed sense of wonder and curiosity about the world. He knew that his journey was just the beginning and that there were countless adventures and discoveries waiting for him in the future. Back in his own time, Lucas continued to explore and learn, driven by the experiences and knowledge he had gained during his journey to the future. He shared his story with his family and friends, inspiring them with tales of advanced technology, compassionate society, and the incredible potential of the human spirit. Lucas maintained his connection with Ava through the communicator, and they continued to share their discoveries and experiences. Their friendship became a source of inspiration and support, bridging the gap between two different times. As he grew older, Lucas pursued a career in science and technology, determined to contribute to the advancements of the future. He became a renowned inventor and innovator, known for his groundbreaking work in temporal mechanics and sustainable technology. Lucas never forgot the lessons he had learned during his journey to the future. He understood the importance of balance, compassion, and connection and strived to create a better world for future generations. His story became a legend, inspiring countless others to dream big, explore the unknown, and work towards a brighter future. Lucas's journey was a testament to the power of curiosity, bravery, and the enduring human spirit. And so, the legacy of Lucas Bennett continued, a beacon of hope and discovery, lighting the way for future adventurers and dreamers. His journey to the future had not only transformed his own life but had also left an indelible mark on the world, shaping the course of history and inspiring generations to come.